As far back as I can remember, I always wanted
to make video look like shit on purpose. This video, as I was making it, became so much larger in scope than I originally intended. But at its core, it's about converting tape to digital. So be it DV, 8mm, VHS, getting that to digital on your computer. While on this journey, I also got into glitch art, circuit bending, synthesis. I'll throw up a table of contents so you don't have to watch the bits you don't want to watch. Alright, so for the first example, we're going to be filming on actual tape. That's what we're doing right now. And then we're digitizing that tape. Something to be mindful of when you're filming on tape is that it is very fragile and it can get messed up. Here is some footage from the beach last year that I took on my DV camera. Often you're buying these cameras secondhand off of eBay, and even if they're in working order when you receive them, they are old and they will fall apart. So one thing to be mindful of when you film on tape is that tape is a fragile medium. Sometimes it just gets corrupt, sometimes it doesn't work. Another thing that's important to know is that the method I'm showing you now is what I use because I like the result. There will be people that will say, oh, you don't want to use the cheap conversion card because you aren't getting the true out of camera image or whatever, which to those people, that's fine. If that's something you care about, maybe you should watch a different video. For me, I like the result of the method I'm about to show you. This method is cheap and easy, and you don't really have to worry that much about if your conversion is ruining the frame rate or the interlacing or any of that sort of stuff, because I don't care. I just like the way that this looks, and that's enough for me. So let's get digitizing. First thing you want is this cheap capture card. I've tried other capture cards and it ended up that this cheap one was the best for me. So I'm going to recommend that one to you. I got it on Amazon. And you're likely going to need some RCA cables. If your camera has an RCA out, you need RCA cables. If your camera has this thing, then you'll need this cable. And again, there's probably other ways to do this, but I'm just going to show you the way that I do it. All right, guys, I'm on the couch. I've got my capture card here. I've got a USB type A to USB type C adapter so that I can plug this into my computer. I've got one RCA cable with all three colors. You don't need to have all three colors. You can have just one color for sound and one color for video. They don't have to be these colors. The color doesn't mean anything. And I've got my camera. On your camera, locate where the ports are, and you're going to want to take your RCA cables, and the important one is yellow. 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 This camera is old, so it has a black out for audio. We're gonna plug the white one in there. And so remember when I said that these colors don't matter? They don't matter on the cable itself. On this and on the out of the camera, they do matter. So what's important is that we match the video out, which from the camera is yellow, to the video in on this cable, which is also yellow. It says CVBS on it. That's composite video bullshit. And then we have the audio, which is black on the camera, but it's going into the white, is going to go into the white, like so. And then the red we don't have to do anything to because it's not actually connected to anything. And if you're unfamiliar with the way tape cameras work, you got to put them into player mode in order to capture it on the computer. So you put that in player mode. And then you also, I don't know, you might already know this, but if you don't, you got to rewind this mother all the way to the beginning or to wherever on the tape you last left off. Okay, so now with your camera plugged in, the tape rewound, you want to open up OBS, which is a free streaming software. You can also use it to record onto your computer. So that's what we're going to use it for. Inside OBS, the first thing you want to do is create a new scene, and then you're also going to create two new sources. The first one is going to be a capture source, and that is going to be for the video coming out of the camera. So you're going to want to point to the USB device for that. So for the rest of these settings, I usually just pick 30 FPS. If for some reason the screen doesn't show up as blue or it's not recognizing the image, I would just toggle some of these until it shows up, which isn't very scientific, but sometimes when you fire up OBS, even after you've done it correctly once, you'll need to just toggle on and off one of these settings in order for the image to show up. It's just one of the quirks. Okay, I had the thought that I think if the footage is 4:3, then the process has to be a little bit different. So I'm now recording on my Japanese Handycam that's on DV, so that's gonna be a new thing, and the 4:3 aspect ratio. So we're gonna see what you have to do differently for that. So as you can see, it by default wants to make it the 16:9 aspect ratio, and so it will stretch a 4:3 shot video. So you want to make sure that you select a 4:3 aspect ratio inside the resolution settings here so that it de-stretches it. It's adding pillar boxing, which you can get rid of by changing the sequence size. But to be honest, I just normally leave it. And then the second thing you're going to want to create is an audio capture device, which will point to the USB thing again, and that will capture the audio. You also want to go into settings and make sure that your output settings under record are set to whatever you want them to be. I use MP4 and these encoder settings, and I'm just going to save it to the desktop because I'm a heathen. And then you also want to go to video and make sure that these settings are what you want. I'm sure somebody's going to be like, oh, you should do 60 FPS because it's 30 interlace or deinterlace. Well, this is what I do. You can choose to follow me into the abyss, or you can learn how to do it properly. Once you have a picture, you hit start recording, you hit play on the camera, and then you just gotta wait as it plays real time through the tape. And then you hit stop recording when you're done, and it'll show up wherever you directed it to save. In my case, the desktop. I think there's a natural pull into glitch art when you start messing with analog gear because it just has a natural glitch to it. So I found this tutorial on how to build a car clomp dirty mixer, and I learned how to solder, and I got all the pieces and built this device that basically just hard smashes two analog signals together, which looks pretty awesome. I was very pleased with it, but I got a taste for the glitch art world, and so I bought all the stuff that you need to assemble a chav and a VGA forever, and so I put that together, and it was obviously way out of what I knew how to do, but I'm very pleased with the final result because it creates these like cool textures. Converting a VHS tape is exactly like converting a tape out of a camera, but instead of plugging into the camera, you're plugging into the back of the VCR, specifically the out port. And then everything else is the same. You plug it in, you put the VHS tape in, you press play, and then you select the USB device within OBS and hit record. Great. My hunger for glitch art led me to circuit bending, which is when you buy an old piece of analog gear, break it open, and then rewire stuff, adding potentiometers and switches and things like that to break the signal. In this case, it was very dangerous because this device is literally plugged into the wall, and so I'm constantly trying not to electrocute myself with 120 volts. So please don't try this at home, but the results are really incredible, and it feels really good to have built this device essentially. If you don't want to convert to tape at all, you can record straight to one of these things. It's a powerplay by Immersion RC. Fortunately, you can buy generic ones on Amazon, or you can do what I did and buy a camera on eBay that comes with this and all the wires and batteries and stuff. What's nice about the powerplay is it lets you record straight to an SD card, which means you don't have to worry about the tape deck because that is usually the thing that breaks on an old camera. You can use it basically as a monitor too as you record, and this is kind of what the footage looks like. It's how I recorded the intro to this video actually. But one thing to note is that I was recording my friend's birthday concert and it cut out quite a bit, and I think it was because the cable had a bad connection. I don't know, just something to be mindful of. And so the natural progression was to, of course, go from video synthesis to audio synthesis. So I've been getting really into modular synth, but it's very expensive, and I told myself that I'm not allowed to buy anything else until I make 5 things. I have this grand vision of accumulating experimental video and compiling it into like a fake 24-hour stream TV channel sort of thing, so like making ads and, you know, fake bumpers and shit like that, and then also just running experimental stuff and just having it be a live stream. That runs 24/7. I think that would be really cool, but making 24 hours of content is a lot. I've also been experimenting with like a live show type I just love the idea of experimenting with video and experimenting with music and just having this like live performance-y sort of vibe thing. But I'm not, I need to get better. I need to get better at synthesis, and then it'll be more enjoyable. I also need to get some more modules, which slippery slope, but this is thing 2. I have to make 3 more things before I can buy any more stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something about tape to digital.